understanding what your customer is saying to you and translating that into messages that you can use, you can do on your own today. So when it comes to creative storyboards or advertising that you want to do on Facebook or on Google Search or on any other channels for social, which is where small businesses usually live these days. We're not doing national Super Bowl campaigns. If you're Jim's Hoagie Shop here in Atlanta, you can basically come up with your own campaigns in your own brand voice very specifically. So using it for creative purposes without having to engage a consultant, which can be extremely expensive, or outsourcing that piece of the brand, is incredibly powerful. If you're a larger organization, I think that we've got some customers now that have told us who have not used some of our technology to go directly to the end, let's say, product of the actual advertising campaign to production. They've cut down their storyboarding process, right, or their overall, let's say, campaign process from like 12 to like 4 weeks by removing a big chunk of the upfront creative piece. So when I'm going to an agency, I can give them a campaign brief, a product brief, a PDP, right, a product description, with imagery that is not what they're going to use as the final, but is much more illustrative of what they're looking at. Because when you look at this creative process for advertising, a missing ingredient for me, and what I'll keep pushing for the next several years, is looking at conversational data in order to understand the language, but also then using generative technologies to mold that language into language and imagery that can be used for very early storyboarding, which could take several weeks to months, and shrinking that down where we can hand over a package to an agency to go, create the final approved, trademarked, beautifully visible with an MMM plan to go to different channels with the paid media version of that, but really shrinking down the creative process, right? And I'm not saying to replace the creators. I'm saying to give them the tools, right, and make this process faster, so they can hand over something, right, collaboratively with creative directors in order to get them to get to market much, much quicker. Because in some cases, they have to be turning these things around in days, right, or weeks, and not months and years. So I think the traditional way of doing it is alive and well and should continue. There's a lot of legacy brand power and brand voice that is incredibly powerful. This is why we still have products from the 1910s, 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s as relevant today as they were back then.